So as I mentioned, and Erica were mentioning as a couple hopped on, we haven't done industry roundtables in a while. I think our last real batch of them was around the COVID crisis and the pandemic. And we did, a bunch of those in different formats. One with Ron Levine and then one with us kind of just focused on industry. So we thought it would be good time to get us back here. This is kind of an interesting format because it is still Zoom. Love it, hate it. Sometimes it's easier to get people on Zoom pretty quick, pretty, easy download. Let's talk about what matters. But also how do we still bring people together? So we are looking at a couple options of bringing you all together in various capacities, including, our summer mixers, which we're pretty excited about, but figured this was easy enough for us to hop on. And I also said, it's pretty casual and, we're not checking the digital door to make sure you are part of this industry. So if you saw some other roundtables in, the next 3 weeks that you want to hop into, you might have, if you're a lodging property with something else to offer and you fit within that mold of the next roundtable, hop onto that one too, register for that one. Like I said, we're not too strict about it. The more the merrier, and really just a collective of people coming together, discussing and trying to find solutions. So with that, I'm just going to go around and have everybody introduce themselves and the industry, or rather the organization that you're with, and then we'll just kind of start with some general conversation. And I'll go ahead and kind of pick on people. So I'll use my part, and I'll start with you, Martha.
Hey, I'm Martha Wiles. I'm owner of the Harwood Hill Motel.
Great. Chris Oldham.
Hi, everybody. I'm Chris Oldham. I'm the executive director for the Park McCullough Historic Governor's Mansion.
And his even more beautiful and more smart assistant there, Jeannie. You want to introduce yourself?
Well, thank you, Matt. I'm Jeannie Ventroni, and I am the events and membership manager here at Park McCullough, and grateful to be working with Chris and happy to be on the call today.
Okay, thanks, Jeannie. Kim, up at Seesaws.
Hello, I'm Kim Prince. I'm here at Seesaws Lodge and Johnny Seesaws Restaurant in Peru, near Bromley.
Great. Fawn, and then Andrea.
Good morning, Fawn Montaigne. I'm the owner of Fawn Montaigne Consultancy. I'm an organizational consultant and kind of virtual assistant. And here today, I'm on behalf of the Wilson House of East Dorset.
Hello, I'm Andrea Baki, owner of Think Dynamic Digital, which is a digital marketing and business solutions company. And I'm here today to learn because most of my clients are in the hospitality industry. So thank you.
Okay, great. Camille?
Hello, I'm Camille Kaufman. I'm the outreach coordinator / AmeriCorps Vista at Lake Perrin, also known as Perrin Recreations. And yeah, happy to be here.
And Camille, I think I found one of the churches that said they were going to do a sunrise service on Easter. So Camille and I were going back and forth. I think so. It was like University of Christ or something like that, but they had mentioned it on their newsletter. So maybe. Okay. They don't normally do the recreation part. They usually go up on the other parking lot and just kind of watch the sunrise, but just so you know, if you see a bunch of cars there. Gotcha. Nancy, who I think, are you on your way to Penn Station or are you in Penn Station?
I'm in Penn Station. And it's very Penn Station-y today. So I'm Nancy Cloziel, and I own Couch and Cork, which is an in-home virtual venue-based and corporate provider of wine tasting events and education.
Great. And we should mention Nancy, I believe, is the only one on here that is a board member of the Chamber of Commerce. So also wearing that hat as well. Rob Booth, and then John Burnham.
Hello, everyone. Rob Booth. I am the Director of Sales and Marketing for the Equinox Resort.
Hi, good morning, everybody. John Burnham, the Executive Director of the Manchester Business Association, former General Manager of the Kimpton Taconic Hotel for over 5 years, and here to listen, participate, talk, and thanks for having me.
Great. Linda from Casablanca.
Hi, I'm Linda. I'm here with my business partner, Diane. We are co-owners of the Casablanca Motel in Manchester. Quite probably the oldest continually operating tourist cabins in the state of Vermont.
Great. And then I think we're going to round out. Is that Ed or Betsy on the EM Bluto Woods?
Hi, sorry, it's Betsy.
Hi, Betsy.
Hi there. I'm the owner, operator, innkeeper of the Knotty Pine Motel in Bennington, Vermont.
Great, thanks, Betsy. So why don't we just kind of kick it off? I would love, and I think Erica would too, Martha, you started, and I don't think we got it recorded, but just sounded like really phenomenal sales being up this year compared to maybe even 2021 and probably definitely 2020. But how are people doing? I think that is always the first question, and you can take that from a financial perspective, from a mood perspective, from an infrastructure, keeping the place together. But Martha, maybe you just kick us off, share a little bit with kind of how Harwood Hill is doing and what are the prospects looking into summer and fall for you?
Right now, I mean, I'm just predicting really even higher demand than last year. And last year was by far our best year ever. So far, the advanced bookings that we have are really looking like it's going to be a killer year. And my big challenge, like I said, kind of on the beginning of the call, is staffing and making sure that I've got the staff that I need to cover. The other thing I would say is the other real challenge is predicting things. It's just very odd, like, because you want to staff up and then but you don't know because I don't want to hire people and then let them go. And so it's been really a strange kind of situation here over the past few years, not being able to really know what it's going to look like. There have been like mostly, more and more business, but then sometimes there'll be these strange lulls. That's a big challenge for me too. But I would say, like it used to be that marketing the motel was a big deal and, trying to drum up business. That's not really my problem anymore. It's like how to manage it with the limited staff that I have.
Great, thanks.
And can I just say, really appreciate the chamber's support again. I just have to tell you that it's been amazing.
Great.
What you guys are doing.
Sometimes marketers, sometimes therapists will do. I mean, you're right, Martha, and being on the somewhat of the other end of the pandemic with a whole new set of challenges, right? But man, I remember some of these roundtables, and I know Erica does too. It was depressing and grim and scary. So, definitely a celebration and a hoorah for everybody on this call. We're still here. We're still kicking. Chris, I was going to go over to you. Obviously, you're expanding Park McCullough even more. I mean, how has that looked? You're now 2 to 3 years in. So what are you noticing?
Yeah, me personally, I'm 2.5 years in. And I think we're really just scratching the surface here. There's a lot of potential. And, we went from a small nonprofit with about $100,000 budget, which is peanuts when you're looking at the scope of the work that needs to get done to a Victorian mansion that's 155 years old. But it was also volunteer run. They didn't have a director for 10 years. So they made a pretty bold move to hire me. And what I promised was to focus on engagement. I do not have a background in historic history or historic preservation or anything like that. But one thing that like I said, promised to bring to the table is community engagement. And then COVID hit, which kind of turned everything upside down. But instead of closing, we were determined to continue to come up with creative ways to engage the public. When you take a look at our sources of revenue, I always say that we have 5 pillars of revenue, and that's membership, that's admissions, grants, donations, and rentals, facility rentals. And those are our major sources of income. And right off the bat, with COVID, we can kind of guarantee that admissions wasn't going to be a very strong source of revenue for us, and it wasn't. And if you kind of look at our books, admissions, it really wasn't a major player in the revenue, the source of revenue, unfortunately, as it should be for a site like ours. But with those issues, and then the fact that our borders were literally shut down to tourists, really had an impact on the people who are visiting. So we did shift our gear, our focus to Bennington County for the most part. And we realized very quickly that people who were born and raised in Bennington or in the area have never stepped foot inside the mansion. So we capitalized on the fact that we need to get people, who are from here to come here, and then ultimately they become our ambassadors when they have visitors come through, or if they're looking for something to be part of. I really wanted them to say, well, Park McCullough should be on the top of their list. So with that said, we also struggled significantly with rentals. We are, one of our major sources of revenue was weddings here at the mansion. And when COVID hit, we had to either cancel or postpone what we had booked. And then trying to get anything safe and booked was almost impossible. So we lost a significant amount of revenue for rentals. Again, our focus was doing things with the community and getting the community engaged. So we were able to actually make more money doing that. And our membership, when I first started, not to toot my own horn, but when we first started, we had 60 members, and now we have 230 members, and most of them are local, if that doesn't tell you anything. So we were able to make up for quite a bit of the loss in admissions and bookings based on our uptick in memberships. Our focus now that we have, we do have bookings coming, and we are anticipating buses and things like that coming back to the area this year. We brought in Jeannie, who you met earlier. Jeannie will make it her mission to book and also invite schools and bus tours to the mansion so that we can put more of a robust effort into tourism and booking. The effort is starting to pay off with that new position because we have, Jeannie, I think right now about 16 or 17 bookings. And we aren't focusing just on weddings. We have set up the barn where we are right now for conferences, for meetings, for cocktail parties, for memorial services, bar mitzvahs. Frankly, if you have a check, we'll make it work. And we're not just a spot for weddings. And although it is an absolutely gorgeous place to get married, and we have invested a significant amount of money in our gardens and our facilities, we're about to invest another $75,000 into the barn this year, thanks to some COVID relief funding that will upgrade some of our electrical issues, and we'll basically be spending money to help us make money. So to wrap it up, we are navigating private events, and we are still trying to host community events, because those two things drive revenue, both in membership for us and for private bookings. But we do find that our challenge this year is going to be hands on deck, because we can book a bunch of things, but we have to have people to work them. And we can plan our own events, but we have to, scale back on what we offer the community because we are still trying to make money on private events. So staffing for us is going to be an issue this year, and also volunteers and hours of operation. So we do intend to expand our membership opportunities to even basically people in this room with a hotel innkeepers package that we've been wanting to do for quite some time, that we hope to be launching soon, that allows us to work with the front desk people who are ambassadors to the area. And we want to make sure that Park McCullough and the events that we have and even tours are on your desks, so that when your guests come in, you can direct them our way. And we also are upping our technology efforts so that we can offer self-guided tours with audio opportunities, so that we're not so much relying on volunteers to do our guided tours. That, in a nutshell, Matthew, is what is going on at Park McCullough, and I appreciate the opportunity and the time.
Yeah, absolutely, Chris. And there'll be more time. I think what I want everybody on the call to kind of listen for, so we've got some work to do. And I think both Martha and Chris have shared challenges. So I want you to, tell me and Erica, how are things going? Better or worse? We're excited about the year. However, challenges, I think, feel free to share those, but also listen for where there's connections or innovation too. So if you're really liking how Chris is doing X, Y, and Z, get his contact and connect with Chris after. If you like what Martha said, connect with her. If you have brainstorming ideas, and we've seen great stuff come out of this, whether it be a chocolate weekend with a vendor and a hotel, or additional use of the space at Park McCullough. So some of the work here, I think today, is to listen, and definitely for this chamber to listen to all of you, but also really be taking notes around, wow, okay, didn't ever think about it that way. That'd be, a self-guided tour of our inns. That'd be interesting, so that I get there and, you've already gotten a tour of it, especially with many of you have those kind of iconic inns. It's not your general lodging property. So imagine that. So just, again, be listening for neat little programs or innovations that you hear from one another. I'm going to hop over to Kim up in the North Shire over at Seesaw, and give us a little bit of update of how you guys are doing, kind of starting this new year, what you're looking forward to, maybe some challenges too.
Yeah. So I think staffing is always a challenge. It was before COVID, and it is after COVID. We are very fortunate to have many of our employees who started with us from day one. Some of them left when indoor dining opened, but they came back as soon as they were vaccinated. So we feel fortunate in that way. We took a leap of faith. The business, ever since kind of COVID opened up last April, May, has been, incredible, beyond expectations. And it's been keeping up with the demand. Last fall, we lost all our college student help. And so we had to drop reservations by 50% because of staffing. So winter season being at the mountains, we knew that we wanted to make sure we were staffed so we wouldn't have to continue to, lose revenue because of staffing. So we very aggressively sought employee housing. We bought a nearby property. We renovated that 3-bedroom to be a 6-bedroom, all singles. In COVID times, we found people really wanted singles. And so with a couple of bathrooms, male bathroom, female bathroom, whatever bathroom they could use it as they wanted. And we had 5 H-2B visas employees. So that really helped us for our housekeeping, for cooking. bartending to get through the winter season. They all just left, April 30th, or sorry, March 30th, April 1st. So that's fine for this slow period. We're kind of looking towards what is going to happen in the summer. We're actually even being more aggressive. We bought a property and we bought another property that has a barn with an apartment, and that's being converted to 6 bedrooms as well. So we have said, if there aren't people in the area to work, then we're going to look beyond the area, and to look beyond the area to have affordable housing. There is none. So we're going to make it. And it's kind of a long-term plan. Ever since we opened, we've said we're in it for the long term. So that's what we're up to. This summer is going to be a little delicate because in order to get contractors in, even the contractors, some of them need housing. So they're coming from, up northern Vermont. And so it's just always a delicate balance, and kind of, I hear what you said, in terms of not knowing, you can't even look at, you look at the last couple of years, and obviously it's COVID, and then last year was tremendous, but it was, a COVID rebound. So I have no idea what this year is going to bring, and it's hard to predict. But we'd rather be staffed than having to be kind of flat-footed. That's our tact. I know there's other nearby places, and they've kind of done the opposite and not worked. They've only been open on weekends as a lodging facility that's normally open 7 days a week. And I'm representing Seesaw's Lodge and Johnny Seesaw's Restaurant. So that's why for us, our biggest needs are always housekeeping, dishwashers, and cooks. And now COVID, they were plentiful before COVID, but not since afterwards. So that's what we're up to. We're putting, I feel like it's a huge risk. We put a lot of money in the ground when we underwent a 3-year renovation, and now we're doing it again with employee housing. But it's something we think that it's critical. So that's what we're doing. We're keeping a keen eye on everything in the area. And I know it has the state's attention. I know it has Manchester Business Association attention, but there was nothing happening fast enough to work for us. We needed it for this past winter. So we just went into overdrive, and my husband made it happen.
Great.
That's
And,
amazing.
and I mean, kudos to you. It's kind of the exciting things we like to hear. I know it's a pain for you. It costs money for you, but it's really innovative, and just really commend you, your husband, and the team for doing that. We are looking at having a housing forum at the end of April with housing professionals to just hear those types of stories and think about solutions that we can do at a more local level. I think you're absolutely right. It's everybody's focus. And from this region, and I can speak more specifically to Bennington, although I know some housing is going up in Manchester as well, Depot Street along that area. But we have some amazing pipeline projects. They're just going to take 3 to 5 years. And to your point, Kim, we don't have that time. So I know Eric and I are working with some of the housing professionals to bring them together end of April to do exactly this type of thing, which is, hey, I heard you. Okay, let me connect with those two and that sort of thing. We'll also be doing a workforce one as well, which we will put out to the full membership if that's something you want to get to. And again, that's problem solving. That's everything from sharing what I want to say, sharing kind of bulk purchasing, like some of our restaurants have to do. Is there a way we could innovatively do that, all the way to sharing staff, right? So if the ski mountain's using somebody in the winter, could we kind of piggyback and use them on the summer? So those two things are coming down the way, and Eric and I will update everybody on that as well. Thanks again for sharing.
That sounds great. The employee sharing sounds great. I've often wondered about that. I mean, I don't have a strong network, and I have in the area, like mountain wise, but everyone needs the employees at the same time. So yeah, being able to work with people who summer is their high peak or different things would be good. The other thing, I am attending the BBA career fair. So hoping to get maybe some students who are interested long-term in the hospitality field, other than my daughter who wants to go abroad. So.
Great, good. And with that, let's go over to Fawn. Fawn, I know you're kind of on here representing Dorset and the Wilson House. And I know you spoke a little bit about the Career Expo, but anything you want to also share from kind of the Wilson House, or just even, your own profession as you've worked into probably multiple clients dealing with all these challenges.
Yeah, I'll just say that, I'm here on behalf of Berta and the Wilson House, and I can just kind of give an overview from where they're at. The house itself is being, there's a capital improvement to improve accessibility into the home. So the doors will be widened in the back, and they're looking to put in a lift for wheelchair access. The Wilson House is a sober destination, and we really wish to really become the sober wedding destination and event destination of the Northeast. We do have strong ties to the historic leg that we want to continue to explore, being, one of the first inns established in East Dorset, and, dating back to the days of the quarry. And we've been working with the historical societies out here about some of those tours. We really seek to increase activities at the house during the week and midweek usage. And that's kind of where I've been brought in to see what we can do to expand those circles. I'm openly a person in recovery, and also the executive director of the Vermont Roots and Wings Alliance, which is the state's first Friends of Treatment Court organization. I can't speak enough about being a recovery-friendly workplace and having known policy, practice, and procedure around supporting not just people in recovery, but making accommodations for their family members. And I'm happy to speak to anybody about those kind of things, or head up a discussion and continue the discussion about that as well. We're an alcohol-focused industry when it comes to hospitality, and I can't tell you, I was in Bennington twice this weekend to have lunch with my mom, and then took my kids to dinner. And I hate having to ask, what mocktails are available, because everything's about the cocktail and not the mocktail. And we have some great local producers like Toast and other people in the area coming up with some very high-end non-alcoholic options to have on hand. So, I just encourage soda swaps and, increasing wellness opportunities, which is what we're really looking to do at the Wilson House with area partnerships here as well. PR, marketing, communications. I see a lot of people trying to do it in-house. It is challenging. Just remember, people barter a lot of services. I know that I have a lot of active barter services going on because, things, the time and climate, we have to make it work however we can in and about town. I love what I'm hearing, and I'm just, here to learn from all of you and eager to learn more. So thank you.
Great, thanks, Fawn. And we should mention, put a plug in here for the Chamber. We are working with the Wilson House for our inaugural Women in Leadership Luncheon, which is Wednesday, May 11th from 12 to 2. We're really excited. Excited on multiple fronts. And one of those, obviously being able to celebrate the many women leaders in this region. And you can look at this call and it's already apparent, and it's not surprising at all. We started to put together a list and the list is in, I think it's like the hundreds of just women who are making an impact on this region. Visible impact and visible women in leadership roles. But also we're excited to be up in Dorset with the Wilson House, and we're working with Berta and Fawn and the team over there. And so we're excited to kind of show off the space too, and just really being cognizant of highlighting everything throughout the region, not just Bennington, not just Manchester. So we're excited, and join us if you can. Limited seating, but it is going to be a great lunch with President Walker from the Bennington College. And with that,
Matt,
go ahead.
we still have time to nominate women in leadership.
Nominate. You do not have to be a female to nominate. You can be a male and nominate a female to nominate to win an award.
And you don't even have to be you don't have to be a female to attend. Men are welcome as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you have anyone you would like to nominate, I'll put in the chat box the link to nominations. It's a really quick form, but we'd like to make sure that we are reaching as many people, and since we have a lot of North Shire people here on the call today, we'd love to have your nominations in.
Great. Camille, Lake Perrin.
Yes. So basically, I'll just give a little background about what I'm doing at the lake and the expansion that we're having at Lake Perrin. I was hired in August of 2020 to come on as Lake Perrin's first year-round employee. Right now and in the past, Lake Perrin was just a seasonal facility, only open in the summer for recreation and swimming. But my job was to kind of expand to year-round programming, utilizing our facilities that were just rebuilt about 5 to 6 years ago now. And they're, severely underutilized in the winter time and off season. So really expanding the breadth and capacity of what we can do at Lake Perrin. One of those ways of expansion is environmental education. In the immediate Bennington area, there's not a lot of environmental education opportunities for youth. So I was kind of hired to expand those opportunities and nature exploration using, the Robert Frost Trail that's on our property, utilizing the lake and our beachfront property. It was definitely a challenge coming on because it was hard to plan due to COVID and really do those expansions, especially in my first year of service with AmeriCorps. But we were able to generate revenue last summer for our lost revenue in 2020 with the expansion of summer camps. So we were able to put on a nature-based and place-based summer camp at the lake, and that brought in a lot of revenues, like I said. And it also, brought in more youth, which is something that we wanted to do, and expand the childcare and outdoor education opportunities and making Lake Perrin a space for recreation, but also learning and also gathering as well. So with that, we are also looking to utilize our kitchen space more. We have a licensed commercial kitchen, and really trying to expand our outreach to people that might want to process foods to sell in the community, use it as like a kitchen incubator space. We were just able to do some cooking classes with Shire's Housing, and we got a couple grants through Bennington College to utilize our kitchen in a more expanded way. I would say in the past few years, grants have really been our savior, and especially, coming from the federal government and the state of Vermont through private and public funding streams. And that was able to fund our summer camps and get revenue from that stream. Let's see. And I will actually be staying on past my AmeriCorps service as the first ever full-time employee of Lake Perrin. And we'll be having another Vista then as well. So we'll be having two, and that's kind of our part of expansion and our plan going out from now on. Right now, as we prepare for summer, and it is our busiest season still, we are, like many other organizations, struggling to recruit staff, and especially like lifeguards and counselors. I'm curious about joining that Burton career fair to reach out that way. But yeah, so we have the funding. We feel okay financially. Our memberships are still present and growing as well. But yes, it's about having people on deck and to help out. And I think that is our main barrier right now. I think that's
Great.
pretty much it.
Yeah, we'll get through everybody, and then if there are other things that you want to talk about or something came up, please share. Camille, do you have any connection with Nick and Lonnie DeSorda over at Pangea? Just want to make sure that you're connected with them. Obviously, they're doing a lot of great stuff over there with Powers, and I just feel like that is such a neat little neighborhood and community. Obviously, Chris as well. But to me,
I was just going to say that we actually have a joint event. I met with Alyssa just this morning to go over some planning for an upcoming joint fundraising effort between the lake and the mansion.
Great.
And some other possible collaborations that we'll get Camille involved into.
Yeah. Perfect. And we should mention, I know Erica probably will at the end of the call too, we are doing a special networking mixer on Lake Perrin, at Lake Perrin in May 27th, which is a Friday. We're actually kicking off our stay-to-stay weekends as we talk about workforce needs. We're inviting 25 some odd people from around the country to check out Southern Vermont for a weekend, give it a test drive. We're going to start up at the Welcome Center with a meet and greet with them in the morning. We have some sessions planned throughout the day for these people from around the country to learn about the workforce situation, learn about the housing situation, learning about childcare situation. And then that night, we're going to be at Lake Perrin at 5:30. So I'm going to put in the show notes also just a link there. That's open to members as well. It's just our basic networking mixer, but this time we're going to throw in people from around the country and around the world, so you can meet and greet and sell Bennington and Manchester and the region to them. So let me just put that there if you want to register already, and we'll have more information come out about that. Thanks, Camille. Nancy, are you busy? Are you doing anything lately, or what's going on?
Who, me? Busy? Never. Yeah, so I'm doing a bunch of stuff. But before I talk about that, just kind of listening to especially the concern around staffing. Let me take my mask off. Bennington College is a resource that I think is underused. If you've ever done anything with us or around us, or you follow us on social media, you've probably seen my counterpart, Kaya. She came to me in 2020 as a recent graduate of Bennington, and she is the best thing that's ever happened to us. She's 23. She's Broadway trained in electrics and lighting, but beyond that, she has just become a really good person to kind of take on any sort of project. In addition to working for me, she works for the bookstore and the Better Bennington Corporation. So you can't have Kaya, but looking at, when you need kind of temporary help, fieldwork term, which runs like from after the holidays to maybe late February or early March. They do an internship in their field. But also they do that in the summer, and it's a great time to get somebody for 6, 7, 8 weeks. And oftentimes they do want to stay in the area. That's a new thing with the Bennington College kids. They're not all flocking to New York and Boston and London after they graduate. They are forming very deep connections to the town and within the town. So I can't recommend fieldwork, office. And Sarah Krinsky, who's a chamber member, also works, I think, in their career development office. So, posting that you need staff at the college is a great way to kind of open your doors to a very diverse, intelligent, hardworking, and kind of very, they're very mature. I'm constantly have to remind myself that Kaya is going to be 23. So definitely that's a place I think people should be looking. Also, Fawn, if you're not connected to Dare Chammings, she is the executive director of ACT, which is the Alliance for Community Transportation. She is always looking for businesses that are pro-substance free to connect with. She's a great person to reach out to for grants if you want to do any sort of event stuff. So if you don't know her, I'm happy to make that connection between you.
Thank you. The grant that brought me to the Wilson House was sponsored by ACT in the collaborative.
Oh, awesome. Okay, yeah, I sit on the board for ACT. and we do great things. And I know that sounds like a very unusual segue into what's happening at Couch and Cork. So we do work in the intoxicant space. We are a provider of in-home, venue-based, and now corporate virtual wine tastings, which is kind of our bread and butter. We hit and exceeded our revenue goals for 2021, which was really exciting because it was only year 2. So I'm very excited to see what we do this year as far as revenue and expansion. We are currently waiting to hear back from the state on our liquor and catering license so that we can start bringing even more experiential opportunities to places. So we've worked with Park McCullough, we've worked with Casablanca, Bennington Museum, the Chamber, but we've kind of been limited in what we can do because of the way the laws are structured in Vermont. But now, you know, especially like historic properties, you know, you want to add on for a tour, you know, a picnic tasting where people can be on the property, you know, I'm thinking for an engagement or even a bridal shower. So we're working with Bill Devono and the state because it is a little tricky since we don't have a physical space. But that is coming down the pike. So if people want to talk about kind of what we can bring to your events, to your property, we love to collaborate. We don't believe in any sort of competition. Just but yeah, things for us are going well. Staffing traditionally isn't a problem for us because we have such strict requirements. You have to be a certified wine expert. So we kind of have this pool of people that we use, and they're located in Burnham because we just don't have that here. That said, we hope to expand late this year, early next year, and we do pay for education for staff. So if we had someone come on board who wanted to, you know, who was doing something more administrative, but wanted to start their journey in wine, we do pay for that or help them get into a scholarship program. So if you have staff and you're in the hospitality space and you have staff who are interested in wine, always feel free to send them our way. And then I'd say the last thing that we're developing is we've had a couple of restaurants reach out and ask about us training their staff in wine. Not in the sense of like getting a certification, but in the sense of how to elevate the dining experience. So that if someone says, oh, I'm having this lamb special for dinner, what wine should I have? That the staff can very confidently say, you know, that would go great with, I don't know what it would go great with, but depending on the wine list, there's probably something it goes good with. And so kind of really teaching people to be confident in their pairings. I do love when people send me a text that says, here's the wine list, here's what I'm ordering, what should I get? But I think it's really nice when you go to a restaurant and somebody can kind of offer that along. It really does, especially in like luxury dining, it really does kind of elevate things. So it'd be really fun, kind of typical Couch and Cork training of staff to say, hey, these are the actual pairing rules that work. You know, it's actually not complicated. And we want to help people offer a better experience because it's fun for us. We like to talk about wine. And it also lets us form connections with people and then figure out who we need to connect them to. Because I would say besides doing wine, our business is definitely connecting people.
Great. Thanks, Nancy. And I'll ask you this question. I'll ask everybody kind of this question, different way of asking about challenges, but what keeps you up at night besides world peace? What in your own organization, and sometimes that can be too many opportunities. Like you have to be a good leader to know when to say no, but what are you finding keeps you up at night at this moment in your business?
So right now, the biggest issue is that we have bills coming due, but this is our dead time of year. So from like late December until like mid-April, the phones are kind of quiet and we're, you know, but the bills still come. And so even though I know we'll recoup and we'll be fine, it's really stressful to have this like 3-month span, almost 4-month span where nobody's calling, nobody's really booking. I did a corporate event the other day, but it wasn't like, you know, it wasn't like 113 people like we're doing in the holidays every single night. So super stressed about how do we build out programs that keep the revenue stream somewhat going. We are working with 2 properties to talk about doing monthly events where people will sign up for, let's say, 18 classes on the 18 noble grapes, or, you know, a 5-week course on how to take a tasting note. But those are always a little tricky to plan. And I think people are worried that they also don't get the same kind of actions this time of year.
Yeah.
But that's my biggest anxiety right now, is around the bills are coming and revenue is slow. We'll be fine.
Yeah, and this may be a, if not stupid question, it may be an elementary question, but for those on the call, they may appreciate it or not even think about it. But line of credit with your local bank. It took years and years for my small business to come up with a pretty basic idea, but especially with cash flow problems, you know, line of credit, one of those things you can dip into and pay back pretty aggressively if you need to, but it definitely gives you a safety net. So I don't know if you have one. I don't, you know, you don't have to share if you do.
No, I don't, but actually I should stop over at the credit union tomorrow and talk to them about that. So thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Great. Rob, over at the Equinox. I know you have to hop off in 8 minutes, but
yeah, it is. Sorry, we have an internal pre-con. You know, we have a buyout group coming up in the next week and a half. So, you know, fortunate for us that, you know, we were able to secure this group, but you know, it does come at a little bit of a precarious time because this is traditionally mud season and it's always slow. So as just like everybody else on this call, you know, staffing continues to be an issue for us. And I'm sure like everybody else on this call, last year was a challenge and a lot of fun. Got to wear many different hats. I was a bellman, a housekeeper, a shuttle driver, you name it, we all did it. So even got to, you know, dip my toe back into my bartending skills. So, you know, this year we are in a much better place than we were last year. You know, it will always continue to be a challenge because let's face it, we are in Manchester, Vermont, and the talent pool is always going to be shallow. And while we're on this call and, you know, we're looking to, you know, get new employees, everybody on this call is looking to get new employees. You drive up and down the street in Manchester and everybody has a help wanted sign out front. So, you know, what do we do differently? For us, you know, the Equinox has always been very fortunate to be able to secure international associates to help out along the way. And, you know, last year they just weren't here. You know, we weren't able to secure visas or, you know, J1s or, you know, any of that type of help. So, you know, you have a 199 room historical property and you have 5 housekeepers. What do you do? You know, so myself, my general manager, director of finance, HR, you name it, everybody was in there and just pitching in and helping out. So, you know, we had full flips of the house on a Sunday, and I vividly remember stripping beds, cleaning rooms, doing everything that you possibly can. This year, happy to say that we have about 30 J1 associates that'll be joining the team starting in May. We get 2 waves of the international associates. So they're here for 3 months at a time. So, you know, May, June, July, and then we have our August, September, and October associates that join us. So great to have them. It's going to be awesome to have them back and getting closer to our staffing levels that we like to be at. It's also great to start bringing back services that, you know, in the past were just a natural thing to offer at the resort. And, you know, quite honestly, we couldn't do it last year because we didn't have enough people. As many people on this call are probably aware that the Dormy Grill outside of the golf course was a great place for locals to go and have brunch after Sunday service, or just grab a beverage and watch the golfers play on, you know, Thursday afternoon. Well, due to staffing levels, we weren't even able to open that last year. We didn't have anybody that could literally work a grill. So, you know, we were able to get the bar open, but we had like 1 bartender that, you know, worked 6 to 7 days a week. So staffing is always going to be the #1 challenge for us. Business levels are booming. You know, I can tell you that we have already exceeded our group demand pace for 22, and the leads keep coming. If you're looking at a pacing, normally in a hotel, you know, you put about 50 to 60% of your business on the books the year before going into the next year. Well, I mean, this year we went into the year with, gosh, almost, I'd say 80% of the business on the books. And, in that first quarter, we've already exceeded what we were planning on doing. And gosh, we still have another 8 months of the year to continue to book business in. So there's some holes that are in our schedule, and we're working to place those groups there. But I heard several people talk about weddings. Weddings are going to still be a high priority. Always have been for the Equinox, but it's something that our ownership group has directed us to look at. So we're looking to hire for another catering sales manager here on property. Right now, I think we have 33 weddings on the books, if I remember correctly, for 2022. And the 23 window is wide open, and we continue to get leads on a daily basis for 23. So again, it's all about booking the right business, placing it in the right place and time, and just making sure that we have enough associates to service everything. So no secrets to what we're doing. It's just we're a larger hotel in the area, and we're going to continue to try and hire as many locals as we can, because let's face it, we don't have to house the locals. It's our international associates. We bring these 30 people in. Where are they going to stay? What are they going to do? So we've secured some off-property housing, but at times we have to take our guest rooms out of inventory to make sure that we have places for our associates to stay.
Great. Thanks, Rob. And
Sure.
if anybody has any great ideas or just general, around staffing it, Kim, I appreciate what you were sharing, and, even different types of packages that are attracting different types of workers, and, anything that you guys are all working on, please share here or share at the workforce forum we'll bring together. I have Shelly as well. Shelly, you're next. And if you introduce yourself and where you're working out of, your organization, and then we're just going over basically how does the year look ahead, any challenges, any opportunities you want to share with the group.
Yeah, sorry, I came into the meeting late, so I'm not sure. Are we talking about staffing?
We're just talking about where you're calling in from, your organization, and then just basic opportunities in 2022 you're seeing, and or challenges as well, which staffing tends to be the theme.
Yeah, okay. So I'm from Camping on the Battenkill in Arlington, Vermont. And we're looking good at the moment as far as bookings are concerned. We do a 1 year thing where they can book their site a year in advance. So we're pretty booked up, and we're looking to basically get back to the same turnover we did last year. The one thing we are having issues with is local staffing. Because we're only a seasonal park, we're only open from April to October. So it's difficult to ask someone to work 6 months of the year and not the other 6 months. But we're managing so far. It's me and my husband, and we've got some camp workers that come in that help us out. And kind of we're just moving along very nicely.
Great. And I think we're all waiting for spring. So
oh yes, we are
the more
2nd of April. So
the quicker you can move that along, the better.
yeah. So it's great. I'm happy with the surrounding areas and all the surrounding businesses. We promote each other on a local level here. So it's pretty good.
Yeah, and I think you have some excitement happening down in the middle right there in Arlington, with the Commons and all the work going on over on
there's some exciting
Road.
Yeah.
Looking
forward to that.
Yeah, it's fun to see. Thank you, Shelley.
Okay.
We have Betsy, who just hopped back on, and then I want to finish up with Jeannie. And I know Andrea was here to kind of be a fly on the wall, but we want to hear from Andrea how her business is going. We'll start with Betsy, go to Jeannie, and then Andrea.
Okay, thanks. Yeah, sorry, I had another appointment, so I missed sort of where you guys were at. So we're just catching up on this this season ahead, I guess, right?
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, no, I'm going to reiterate what Martha said in the very beginning, that my bookings look amazing for the summer and not yet for the fall. That's typical because people wait to see when the leaves, what is the exact day the leaves actually turn. So yeah, but summer is great. Almost all my weekends are already booked up. I wish I had 20 more weekends in the summer, I could tell you that. I'm having the same issues with staffing that everyone else is. We have found that, wow, we're paying upwards of $16, $17 an hour for housekeeping to get decent staff. And that's a huge, everything, all the price increases are sort of our biggest hassle right now. You know, we used to leave a little bar of soap in the rooms, and years ago it was 4, 5, 6 cents. Now it's like 45 cents for a bar of soap. So, you know, but nobody's complaining about the price increases that we unfortunately have to pass along to our guests. I'm hoping that people are willing to spend the money at the pump to drive. That would be the only concern, would be if the gas prices stay high. It can sometimes keep people home. But I think that people are tired of being home and they're willing to spend any amount of money to just get out. So yeah, no, it's looking really great. I do have one comment. I make this comment almost every year to anyone who will listen. I'd like to see more advanced discussion about event dates and how they coincide with other event dates in the surrounding area. There's one weekend in particular this year. It is always a struggle for families. Bennington College weekend is always a struggle for lodging. And unfortunately this year it's also the Solid Sound Festival weekend, which is insane. And it's Memorial Day weekend. So
Equinox is paying 19.
That could have been 3 separate full weekends for all of us in this area, and including North Adams and Manchester. And unfortunately, it all got lumped into one weekend. And I'd like to see those things sort of spread out a little bit more. And I think that that's just a matter of sometimes it's logistics, but I think a lot of it's just communication.
I don't know what businesses these people are.
Thanks, Betsy. And yeah, I thought you brought up some really interesting nuanced points, which is gas throughout the summer, which could impact day travelers and weekend travelers that want to get out of relatively local or regional markets. I think that's kind of an interesting to think about, and the event part for sure. And I wanted to ask, and you kind of answered it, and that when these prices are increasing, you are passing some of them on to the traveler, and they're okay with it, which, I mean, it is kind of amazing what we're all paying for with inflation, and what we're willing to continue to pay for. So I'm glad to hear that they're not balking at some of those price increases for you guys. All right, I know I said Jeannie next and then Andrea, but I also know we have John from the MBA on as well, so we'll go over to him as well. But Jeannie, just from Park McCullough, I know Chris had said a lot, but anything you want to add to what he said?
Hello, everyone. There's so many things that we have in the works here. A few that maybe Chris didn't mention. We are working on getting our liquor license here, which will open up a lot of opportunities for us. And we want to really expand Park McCullough from looking like just a wedding venue to much more. There's, we're booking showers and bat mitzvahs, and we have a prom coming up. So please keep us on your radar for all these, those and many other types of events. I would also like to do a little bit of collaborating with the inns, hotels, and motels about having tickets available there for tours at the mansion, so they can come over, they see it. Also, sorry, I'm losing my train of thought. To like branch out so that we work together. Also, I am doing a vendor list for brides and for other people who book here, and breaking it down by caterers and restaurants and photographers. I would really like to be able to offer a lot more in the lines of a connection with the surrounding inns for accommodations. We're seeing a lot of bookings coming from out of the area where entire weddings are looking, all the guests are looking for a place to stay. So I'd like to connect more with innkeepers and owners. I'm going to put my information in the chat box if anybody wants to reach out to me and you do want to be on the vendor list under accommodations. And we also have the stables in the back. So if you have a party at your, group coming in to your establishment and they need a place to have an event, we have that smaller space available, which is for 26 people roughly. So lots of ways that we can all work together. Caught me off guard a little, sorry.
Okay.
I'm done. Thank you.
Yep. Andrea?
I don't hear.
We'll go over to John Burnham, then we'll go back to Andrea if she's not on. But John Burnham from MBA. How's
Hello,
your business going?
Oh, it's pretty quiet at the visitor center up here in Manchester. But it's interesting, as Rob and Kim, who are both MBA members up here in the Manchester area, have said, staffing is obviously a challenge. We all know that. And as they both have done, and I would recommend for those of you out there who haven't, to kind of tap into those J1 resources if you can. I mean, that comes with, of course, housing or helping finding housing for those staff members. But they offer great solutions, whether it be short-term, 3 months to a year to even a year and a half. You can get international folks to come and work for your business. As well as if you haven't been networking with many of the colleges and universities in New England, whether it's UMass Amherst right across the border to Boston College, universities in New Hampshire, even Vermont, that have hospitality programs, you should be, because those are places you can draw for summer internships, fall internships, students that are going to be graduating, they're looking for jobs outside of their college, whether it's an associate or bachelor's degree. So lots of different resources to use, because as we know, whether it's Bennington or Manchester or anywhere in between the two of us, staffing is always a challenge. And before COVID hit, I was general manager at Taconic, and we faced the same challenges every year. And the last year I was there in 2019, before we were able to get H-2B visas, which Kim was talking about for the summer and fall, which was phenomenal.
John, you still there?
And
okay.
Yeah, sorry, did I cut out?
Yeah, you did.
Sorry, bad reception.
We heard that your visa program at Taconic was phenomenal. The H1.
Yeah. So anyway, we're seeing, for the ManchesterVermont.com website, which is the way we kind of measure what's going to happen, short term as well as long term, is we continue to see a huge increase in users coming to our website from all over the Northeast and all over the country. And so for 2021, we saw an increase of over 25% compared to any previous year, whether it was 2020, 21, 19, 18. And that meant about an additional 30,000 users in a year were coming to our website. And this first quarter of 2022, we're up again another 20%, about another 10,000 users have come to ManchesterVermont.com, which tells me that we're in for a busy summer. And even though gas prices may be high and airline tickets may be high, people are going to travel. People are desperate to travel, and they're going to do it even at the higher costs if they can afford to do it. So yeah, and we're here as a resource for anyone as well if you need our help or assistance. I mean, we work a lot with the Southwestern Vermont Chamber of Commerce, which is great, and we have a great relationship with them and our members. And together, I think we can do good things for each other.
Yep. Thanks, John. And we should mention our latest partnership. We did the Sweets Crawl, if you did participate in that in February, which was a great kind of just joint partnership with the BBC, the MBA, and the Chamber. That is how we solve these challenges, is by working together, putting leadership together, putting people and members together. And so John and I are committed to that. We are also partnering with the MBA in June, as well as Rob over at the Equinox, to bring back the B2B Golf Classic, which we have done over the last couple of years. We're combining both the fall and spring this year to do one solid one in partnership with the MBA. So if you're an MBA member, you're invited. If you're a Chamber member, you're invited. If you don't know an MBA member and you are a Chamber member, this is a great opportunity to meet those members and vice versa. So we're pretty excited about it. That'll be Wednesday, June 22nd. We don't have the event up or tickets yet, but just if you're a golfer, or just, we also will have a mixer that night. So if you don't golf, you can still come to the Equinox, talk, take a look at what all Rob was talking about with new management. And again, meet and greet with MBA and Chamber, and we know that that's kind of what keeps the world going around. All right, so I think that's everybody. Andrea, are you back? I know we had to skip over you. Okay, great.
Sorry.
Introduce yourself and just a little bit about kind of what you're seeing or what you're working on.
In the hospitality industry. So Andrea Baki from Think Dynamic Digital, which is an online-based digital marketing and business solutions company in Shaftesbury. A good chunk of my clients are in the hospitality specialty food industry, and certainly seeing challenges with the supply chain issues. Hillcrest Foods, which used to be in Vermont, which is now in Wilton, New York, is a supplier for a few, including my mother's business, Vermont Moonlight Cookies. And they're doing the best they can. I mean, it's not the supplier's fault. There's certainly supply chain issues. Just seeing in the news this morning on Business Insider that a lot of the foods that we purchase, choices will be even more slim than what they have been. So what I'm hearing from people is, oh gosh, I'm going to have to raise my prices. And I said, well, of course, that's the nature of doing business. When you have inflation and you have financial things going on and whatever have you, you have to pass that on to your customer. You can't absorb all of that. And some people saying, well, maybe I have to close the business, and that's scary. A lot of people have faced that during the COVID situation. So, which, it doesn't just affect them, right? It affects even service-based businesses like myself. And it's really sad to see a business go out. You don't want that. I certainly don't want that. And I know you all don't want that. So it's like, how can I, as someone who's supposed to be thinking of business solutions and in the marketing aspect, help and be more creative to help my clients, or even help the people that aren't my clients? Just how can we work together to kind of alleviate? And that's why this roundtable is so helpful, Matt. Just hearing the challenges and the worry from people all around the community is, it's just hard to hear, and it's just hard to think about. So I guess, these type of talks really are, you must feel like a therapist, like you said before. And I think that's, just to know that we're all being heard, and that we're all trying to come together to figure out what are some of the solutions, even if it's like a short-term solution to get through all of this, is really helpful. And so that's why I'm here today, is to kind of listen to people. Sorry, I was gone for a short time there. And I'm glad to hear it's being recorded. But yeah, I guess I'm really curious too, to think about, what is it that I, as a community member, not just as a business owner, can do to help other community members, other business owners, just as like a human being with who wants to help in whatever way that looks like. I don't know. I guess I'm curious from all of you, like how in the hospitality industry, are you feeling like there are some short-term solutions that you're seeing are helping your businesses that you're open to sharing, or have you not found that yet? Or is it kind of just like, hold on until, some of this eases up a little bit? I guess I'm just kind of curious to see what everybody else thinks. But yeah.
Great. Thanks, Andrea. And I should mention Andrea serves on our Shire's Young Professionals Board as well. So we've got Nancy here from the Chamber Board and Andrea on that board, which has been a great addition. I think the Chamber has supported the young professionals for the last 2 or 3 years. In the last year, we've supported it becoming its own organization, and I think there's a lot of excitement around that. I know Nancy had mentioned Kaya and others. Those are all 20-somethings, 30-somethings really impacting the region. And I think if you've been paying attention, you've seen that happen more and more in the last year and a half post-COVID. New families moving in, of course, as we've noticed, but also kind of an energized 30-something, 20-something group doing a lot more, helping businesses, helping community nonprofits, that sort of thing. So we'll continue. I kind of think of it kind of bookends. We have our stay-to-stay program, which is inviting people in our relocation efforts, whether that be relocation grants and trying to find places for people to house and trying to find people jobs, and the stay-to-stay program and the Vermont Welcome Wagon program, which is all on kind of one end of the bookend. And then this young professional group, which I kind of really feel as kind of the next family and next community. If anything, we're actually, we want them to be successful in their careers, but we also want them to build roots in Bennington, in Manchester, in Dorset, in Arlington, and we want them to fall in love with Vermont like all of us did. So I think that's the other end, right? Who's gonna be the next board president? Who's gonna be the next executive director? Who's gonna be the next person that owns your business in the second generation? Well, hopefully we're on the other end of that, building that leadership up as well. So we've got about 12 minutes left. I want to get us out of here by 1:30. I really appreciate all of you. I know it's a long Zoom call. I think you've all found, hopefully you've just even listened and gotten benefit and met new people. And I think that's one of the biggest things that comes out of this. I think, unfortunately, what sometimes doesn't come out of this is like the next step. So the feedback that Eric and I always get is like, well, we had that one meeting and then we waited a year, we had the meeting again, we met some new people. But I think some of the ownership is all on you too. A lot of people put their contact into the comment bar. This is recorded. Go back. If you heard something from Camille or Martha or Fawn and it really kind of made you think about something, or you like what they were saying, reach out to them. That's exactly what we're here to connect. You guys are here to build. Wherever we can help, we want to. Go ahead, Erica.
I'm sorry. And I'll send out everyone's contact information to everyone that was on this call. And yeah, this is a great incubator for all of you to come together, share ideas. But ultimately, we would love it if you guys did go offline and say, hey, we talked about that, possibly sharing some workers. Do you have anyone that you think would work with me in my industry or at my place? So it's amazing that you all got on this call and shared so much with us, and it can be a lot to take in. So we will also send the link to the recording, but yeah, I'll send you all each other's email unless somebody objects to that and doesn't want that. Just send me a quick email, and we hope you can take it from there. And then you come back to the next one, would say, hey, I worked with so-and-so, this is what we did, this worked for us, and share it with people down the road. And so I commend you all for everything you're doing to get through some of this. I mean, on the one hand, we're all excited because we're making some money here, but then at what cost, physically, emotionally, to yourselves as you're working those 50, 60, 70 hours because you can't find help.
Yeah, and at this point, I'd like to just kind of open it up to anybody that, you got your one chance to speak, but something else kind of came up, or you heard somebody else say something and you want to add to it. So there's just kind of a last 10 minutes. Anything you want to add to the conversation, and I have some kind of final thoughts. Martha, you look like you.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, so one other thing that I kind of thought about that has been a real issue for us has been not just like actual staff, but contractors and tradespeople, we're really struggling to get, plumbers and electricians. I mean, we've got our guys that we go to, but they've been really bowed up, and we're putting off some projects. I've got some projects that I really want to get done, but I got nobody who can do them for me. So whatever we can't do ourselves, we're kind of just out of luck here right now. So I don't know if anybody's had any luck with that, but that's a big issue for us.
Yeah.
Hey,
Nancy?
Martha.
Mhm.
Yeah, just I don't have any contractors, but a lot of the local realtors keep lists of contractors. So if you call like local realty offices, they can often help you find people that maybe you haven't heard of, people that they use and they've vetted and trust. So I definitely, like if I have something that needs to get done in my house, I always call my friends at Hoffman Real Estate and say, who can I use that can like change a light bulb or, fix a drippy sink or the big stuff too. Because obviously I can't do any of that kind of stuff. But I would definitely recommend realtors as a great resource for that, or landlords.
Great, thanks, Nancy. Yeah, I smile, Martha, because we've kind of got these like always 4 to 5 challenges, and we need workers, we need housing for those workers, we need contractors for those houses, and once they move here, they need childcare. And I kind of see them as the gears to the clock, that the clock may be working, it's just working at a very slow pace. And it's frustrating. I mean, I sit here as kind of knowing all of you on the call quite personally, and it's a constant head scratcher of like, okay, now we've got maybe the workers, but we don't have the housing stock. Okay, we might have the housing stock, but it needs remediation. Okay, so I'm with you, and it's something Eric and I kick this around from time to time. We'll talk about it in our housing forum as well, but the chamber to help mobilize a type of contractor guild or apprenticeship or something like that. And you can imagine us, we're pretty much at capacity, if not over capacity at the moment with 2.5 staff. But that would be the next thing that if I had all the money in the world and all the staff in the world, I would sink my teeth into, which is how to mobilize and train contractors to run a successful business. Because if you've dealt with some of these contractors, they're writing your invoice on a scrap piece of paper, and then you're trying to give that to your insurance company, and they don't like that. So I think there's mobilizing and connecting contractors, and then really teaching them, this is insanity that you're running at right now. I think of 2 contractors that I use, and it's just like it's not bad business, but it's just like, they're spending way too much time on certain things and not enough time. And maybe if we could give them a lean way to work, they would get to more projects, which would increase the capacity of which they all could. And then I think there's the state-to-state program, which would be not only attracting, our type of professionals, right? Service professionals, but actually saying, look, plenty of contractors in New Jersey and New York, you want to get away and work in work in a rural community with probably, better pay. I mean, some of these contractors are getting amazing amounts of money because there's so few. So I think that would be the other thing with that contractor guild, which would be to have a proactive marketing plan to get more contractors to move to Southern Vermont. But like I said, more money, more staff. If anybody has a passion for that, talk to Erica after, not me. Okay, other kind of just connecting the dots, innovation at the verge, as I like to call it. And if not, we can let you out of here a little bit early. Really appreciate you guys taking the time with us. Like I said before, we have 3 more industries hopping in the next Wednesdays. Feel free to hop into if you kind of are a multifaceted business owner or organization, you can hop into multiple one of those. Anything else? We are going to put out a survey probably by tomorrow, real quick survey around housing needs, because we think one kind of has to happen before the other. So as we put together a housing forum to discuss the lack of housing and workforce housing, we want to have some data from our organization, nonprofits, and business owners of, are you running into workforce issues because you can't get people housing here? There'll probably be another workforce survey coming out, which is more acute to, is your business struggling? Is it sacrificing profit because of workforce? That's another survey, but you may get a survey in your inbox in the next 24 hours around housing. So please take a moment to fill those out. Erica, anything else before we let this group go?
No, just visit. We do have many upcoming things. Mixer later on this month at the Southern Vermont Arts Council. If you can join us for that, that would be great. We may or may not have an unveiling. I don't know, Matt.
I think we will.
But we're gonna have a good time. So if you can make it, be great to see you guys up there next month. We mentioned earlier, we will be in North Bennington at Perrin Recreation, aka Lake Perrin, which will be beautiful because it will be at 5:30. We'll see the beautiful, water, and they got a great new pavilion. And if you get there early enough and you want to walk the Robert Frost Trail, take a little hike as well. And yeah, and join us if you can for any of the other roundtables that you feel you would be interested in joining. Everyone is welcome.
Great. Thank you, everybody. Make sure you make those connections. Erica will get out a list of emails and contacts here. So really, that's part of why you belong to the Chamber of Commerce. You are a membership of a family of businesses and nonprofits, and it's really about us working together. So we really we encourage you to go offline and reconnect with these people. But thank you for taking time out, and enjoy the rest of your week. Bye, everybody.
Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.